And that's important for all of us in our callings, in our marriages, in our friendships. Like if you're in a season where you have great friends and somebody says, how did you get such great friends? And you say like, well, we just keep in touch with, like, no, don't say that. Say it was God's mercy and grace. It's God's mercy. How'd your marriage get so healthy? How'd your church get so healthy? How'd you become such a good leader? Like tell the story and say what you learned and say how the weaknesses turned into strengths. But like, do not put your hands on it to take credit, because the measure that we use to take credit is the measure of shame we're going to have when it breaks.
Well, hey crew, it is Adam and Emily, and you are listening to The Conversation today. Happy Wednesday if it's Wednesday when you're tuning in. Happy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day you're tuning in. We are so blessed to have you here with us today.
We are. Happy day.
Yeah. It's episode 306, and today you are going to hear from Jess Connolly. Adam has sat down along with another girl that's on staff, Kylee Breems, and had an awesome conversation with Jess.
It was me in a group. There was two other dudes in the room, but it was basically me in a group of women, which was, like even just thinking about that makes me laugh.
It was
like,
great though.
It's like drop in an old man into this group of women, but it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. This podcast is brought to you by some awesome partners. Adam, will you share a bit about who's partnering for us?
Our partners, as always, are incredible. Our first partner is Generous Coffee. Generous Coffee doesn't just sell amazing coffee. They also make a positive impact. Listen to this, by donating 100% of the money they make to nonprofits to help others all around the world. The church I pastor, Embrace, has brewed coffee, Generous Coffee, for years. And our people rave about it constantly. And the best part, just as far as stewardship for the church, it was cheaper than every other coffee company that we looked at. And so it's delicious. It gives 100% of the profits to nonprofits, and it's reasonably priced. So if you have a business or a church that brews coffee on a regular basis, you can buy Generous Coffee in bulk. Their customer service is amazing. Our staff that interacts with them when we do mass orders for coffee at the church, they just rave about how good their customer service is. When you call this company, it's not some random machine or AI that you talk with. You talk directly to them. My friend Ben Higgins from The Bachelor, maybe you know that name, is the founder of it, and I just cannot say enough about it. Go visit generouscoffee.com. Get yourself some coffee, order in bulk, generouscoffee.com. Our second partner is Vern Eide Mitsubishi. Vern Eide is a growing faith-based employee-owned company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives. And their goal is excellence in everything that they do. My last 3 vehicles have all been through Vern Eide. Their customer service is top notch, whether it's getting an oil change, something bigger, or if you're looking for a new or used vehicle. Whether it's Acura, Ford, Chevy, Honda, they'll have it. Whether it's an ATV, whether it's a boat, whether it's a tractor, they literally will have it. So go visit verneide.com and get yourself a vehicle.
Awesome.
I was just looking at verneide.com the other day.
No more cars. I think you're good.
I'm like literally
I need to stay
away from this website.
Yeah. So this episode was kind of fun because it was something different. Again, kind of shaking things up, something new and fresh. Jess was live here at Embrace, at our campus. And she was on stage, we kind of talked about, with Kylee Breems, who was our communications director, and Adam. And she was just kind of like sharing from the heart. She even said, she's like, I might overshare here because this just feels so casual and just kind of like a hangout.
It was so cool. Like it just, so I turned, you're going to hear this, but I turned the interview over to Kylee and really let her lead the show. She fangirled majorly on Jess, which was hilarious. But it was really solid. There was a couple of times where what Jess shared was so wise. I'm like, that is wisdom. I just have no doubt this is going to touch you, and just so grateful again that you're listening. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Who's excited to be here? Let's go. So these microphones are just for the recording, so that's why you're not hearing us come through. So we're going to do our best to shout as much as we can. So tonight we are doing a live recording of the podcast. Just recently, I've been really trying to switch it up. So lately when I've had a guest, a lot of times it's me in front of a large TV by myself interviewing the guest. But lately I've been inviting different friends into the room. So last month I interviewed Gabe and Rebecca Lyons about marriage, and so I had several married couples in the group. And then even locally on Thursday I interviewed Mayor Tenhanken on a street corner down on Phillips Avenue.
Can I tell you a story about that?
Let's do this.
So my 15-year-old was doing his final driver's ed drive downtown on Thursday. And so I picked him up. I was like, how did it go? He was giving me all the highlights. And I asked, did you drive downtown? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I saw the weirdest thing, though. I wasn't even sure that I was seeing what it really was. But he's like, I'm pretty sure I saw Adam sitting on a table with maybe the mayor talking into microphones. And I was like, you saw right, dude. They were recording a podcast downtown. But like, he fully did not trust what he saw. But it was the real thing. It was the real thing.
Am I stressed over this? Like, what's going on here?
I'm hallucinating during my driving test.
I warned our mayor, I'm like, I don't know if we'll get any hecklers. I don't know if you'll get a heckler or I'll get a heckler. I think we only had one between the two of us. And so I'll consider that a win. But lately, though, been switching it up, and it's been so fun. And so with Jess in town, I'm like, we have to do this. We have another one coming up the week that Carlos Whitaker is here, too. So all of you will automatically get an invite to that. If you're able to come, it'll be a fun time with him. So just 2 ground rules. I only have 2 ground rules. First off, you do not need to be quiet. Actually, please don't be quiet. Feel free to talk. Feel free to laugh. Feel free to cry. I don't know if we're going to cry tonight, but feel free to do that.
Anything could happen.
Secondly, if you have a question, we have a floating mic. And so if you have a question, just raise your hand and Emily will hook you up with the mic. And then Kylee will kind of give you the direction of like, okay, it's time to ask it. So she'll see who gets a mic. And then whenever she is ready, she will have you ask the question right there and then. So we have Jess with us, and I've gotten to know Jess honestly through her husband, Nick, and was able to meet in person for the first time back in October through my friend Brad Lomenick. But Jess, just really grateful for your voice, for your wisdom. It was fun. I didn't want to make the decision on who was a guest speaker for this Voices series. And when I shared it with our head of content, Travis Waltner, who I would have to say is pretty picky about things, and he's also not in the Christian world at all, so he doesn't know names and stuff. So he got your message that I shared with him and texted like 30 minutes later, she's fantastic. And so, which for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not expect to hear that about any of our guests from Travis. And so just really honored to have you here. And then also we have my friend Kylee here with us. Kylie's been on staff at Embrace for
almost 7 years,
which is insane.
Wow. Time flies.
She's just awesome. So many of the things that you see in our church are Kylee, and Kylee rarely is the upfront person, and yet she's just someone that I just have such great respect for. And tonight, again, we're switching things up with the podcast. I'm actually going to turn the show over to her, and she's going to be leading the charge tonight.
Well, before we even hop into this, thank you, by the way, for the opportunity, and just thank you for being here. But when you told me about this a month ago, I really thought he was like trolling me and joking, because I don't really fangirl over anybody except Jess. Jess is my favorite. Like, I listen to every podcast, Substack, Instagram, like I'm holding myself back, like pretending like I don't know everything that you're putting out there all the time. I'm just completely floored to be here. So thank you all. This tonight is going to be so awesome. Okay. Jess, again,
Kylee.
We're so excited you're here. I have so many like serious like motherhood and leadership questions, and then also random things like, I know Jess is on a protein journey just like I am. Has she tried Khloe Kardashian's protein popcorn?
I haven't.
From Target?
Have you?
It's so good.
I'm gonna go get some.
Start with the kettle corn.
Okay.
I'll bring you some tomorrow morning.
I'm really
in your
intrigued.
green room tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, Adam. This is a protein
anyone else on a
podcast
protein
now.
This is great.
journey?
This is great.
Wait, we should play a game. How many grams of protein are people trying to get? How many are you trying to get, Kylee?
You know, it's a really good day if I make it north of 100.
I'm impressed.
So I could do better. What
I'm
about
impressed. I'm trying for somewhere around 120.
you? Okay. See?
Yeah. What anybody?
I literally have no
Higher
idea
than
what
120?
this is about.
Amanda. 150.
Okay. Are you eating the popcorn?
Gosh.
No, but I have wanted to do that, so I'm glad.
Okay.
I'm bringing you a bag tomorrow morning, too.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay.
Sorry, I derailed us.
No,
I could.
I
do you want
derailed
to do
it.
about fiber next? Because I'm also really working on my fiber
I've
game.
got a lot of work to do there. Too. So we've been visiting just a little bit since you got here, and it's been so fun just to hear a little bit about your past couple weeks. If we were friends before 45 minutes ago, and we sat down to coffee, and I was like, Jess, like, how's summer been? Like, truly, like, heart-wise, rhythm-wise, like, how's summer 2025 been for you?
Yeah. Wow, what a generous question. My favorite thing about this, what we're doing right now, is that I'm going to forget I'm on a podcast. So,
This is perfect. That's my hope.
I'll probably overshare. But
So
who
did me and
cares?
the mayor on Thursday.
But I, as a follow-up, I do feel like when I was on your podcast a bit ago, Adam, I feel like I overshared as well there too. So it's just natural. So I'll back all the way up to when I got to meet Adam in November. Our family has lived through just what has been the hardest 18 months of our life. It started with my husband's mental health crisis, and that rolled straight into a really kind of tragic, out of nowhere death of my stepdad that rocked our whole family. Our extended family is really, really close. Right into a private family crisis that we haven't shared about online, but that I've shared about. I think I've probably shared the most on your podcast of anywhere I've shared on the internet, Adam. And I met you in November, probably at one of my lowest human moments. And I remember, I think I told you that Nick and I both knew who you were because we were like, do you know that Adam guy? I would say to Nick, like, he's so encouraging. Like, I don't know him, but I see him on the internet, and everything he does just makes me feel lighter. I feel like I see the light of Jesus in him. And then we met you at this event, and I think I said something along the lines of like, you seem to really like people. Do you remember I said this? I was like, I think you really like people, and you really like God. Like, I really don't think you're faking it. And I remember thinking, like, I'm just so broken after these like couple of months. I really love people and I really love God, but it's difficult right now. Anyhow, our life did not necessarily get easier in the months that followed after that. Where we went through a catastrophic flood in our house that was like massively damaging and financially damaging, just really heavy. All that being said, I'm saying all these hard things for a good reason. In May of 2025, things started to lift. We made it past the year mark of grief, which everyone said would get easier, and it did. It did. And I still miss my stepdad just desperately. But it was like all of it just got easier to like to process a little bit, having made it through all the 1 year things. Our personal family crisis, the page started to turn. Some healing and renewal started to come. Everything that felt like it was in crisis and heavy and maybe going to bury us, it just started to lift. And so all that being said, it's been just like a really interesting, beautiful summer of processing everything we kind of learned in this really long, I say long, 18 months is not that long, but it felt really long for us. Everything we're just kind of processing everything we learned in it, and also trying to not like death grip our lives right now and be like, nothing bad can happen, but say like, okay, God grew some perseverance in us in that time, and he grew some skills in us, and we can use that when pain does eventually come again. So that's how the summer has felt. It's felt like a little bit like I can see in color again. And Yeah. Just taking some deeper breaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah.
I even appreciate you saying a little bit more color.
Yeah.
Not like full color.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, hey, this is slowly but surely but slowly. Yeah.
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 You mentioned that podcast that the both of you recorded earlier this year. One thing I remember really well from that podcast was you talking about, I think you called it like a default stance, sort of like in pain or in grief, kind of just kind of buckling down with the no more.
Yeah.
And I saw myself so much in that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to that too. How do you move out of that posture, out of sort of that crouching posture, or like, you know, or was it it more gradual where you're just like, oh, I'm out of the posture and I didn't even know it?
Well, you know, one thing that I would just say that I think is really interesting that sounds so normal. This sounds so normal. It almost sounds cliche. It almost sounds like, yes, everybody knows this, but maybe it's hard to know it when you're in it. Okay, I think we all get this. Like pain, God will use pain in our lives to build something in us, to grow something in us, to increase our strength, increase our perseverance, increase our character, increase our hope, all these things. We know this. But what's interesting is when you're in it, you are not feeling stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't feel stronger when you're in pain. Mm-hmm. I think personally, I felt weaker. I felt weaker. I felt more, I don't know. I think in the last couple of years, I developed this version of myself that I thought I would be in response to pain. And it was very faith fueled and like strong and stand up straight and like call down heaven and know what happens. And to be honest, I kind of was like that for our first trial. Like the first thing we went through, my husband's mental health crisis, I felt like I am the toughest girl in the room. I know how to recite scripture. I know how to pray. I know how to not, get swept under this. And then when my stepdad died, I was a little less there. And then the next thing, I was a little less there. And then by the end, right around the time I came on your podcast, I was just kind of cowering in the corner, just saying to life, like, please do not hurt me. But what's so interesting is that even in that stance, God is strengthening you.
Yeah.
Even in that, even when you're cowering in pain and you're like, I can't anymore. But I think the key is like continuing to cry out to the Lord in the midst of it. So I don't even know that I would want to give someone advice to get out of it.
Yeah.
I would just say, keep talking to the Lord.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Just keep talking to the Lord. And so sometimes I felt like that felt really faith fueled and like, okay, I believe in victory. And then some days it was just help, stop. Where are you? What's up? You there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a very helpful answer.
No, it was a great answer. It was wonderful.
I think a 2 year ago me would have handed somebody a PDF and would have said like, do these 3 to 5 steps.
Yeah.
I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we are online or like what life is. Something, like everybody's got 3 to 5 steps to do anything, to eat more protein, to eat more fiber, to do anything.
I love 3 steps to get more protein in.
Absolutely. Oh, gosh.
Like the popcorn.
Like the popcorn.
Thank you, God.
I think it's actually refreshing to know there's not 3 to 5 things to get out of it.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, I just think there's something refreshing about that. And when you've gone through, whether it's grief, whether it's just betrayal, whatever it might be, it's like 3 to 5 things just kind of makes me angry sometimes. It's like, I've tried 3 to 5 things and I'm still here.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a wisdom of like, hey, there's not 3 to 5 things. Maybe each day it's a different thing that you can hold on to, a different thing that you can cling to. But there's not really 3 to 5 things. So
Right.
Yeah. It's so good. Just a reminder to you guys with us here in the room that you can raise your hand at any time and ask a question about whatever we're talking about, or if you have a different direction, that's great too. Something else I wanted to ask you about, Jess, was so I think my favorite book that you've written is You're the Girl for the Job.
So encouraging.
Could you just sign my copy really quick? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
And the funny thing is, like, this is so the opposite of who I am. Like, I don't know. Like,
It's totally cool.
emoting
It's
over
totally
somebody.
cool.
I just want to be able to go back. So if somebody could give me some information on Kylee, that would be great because I want to fangirl her back.
Oh, gosh. Well, while you all stew on that. Girl for the job. Top 5 favorite, and just so encouraging about sort of embracing, the gifts that God's given you, the assignment that you're in. What advice do you have for someone who is kind of doubting themselves in the current season, in their current assignment, sort of second guessing, like, yeah, I have these gifts, but they're not as good as this other person's gifts. What advice would you have for someone?
Well, I think you probably have picked up on this from the book. Interestingly enough, You Are the Girl for the Job, also written in a very painful season of my life. What would have been the most painful season of my life up until the last 18 months. And I'm getting somewhere to your answer with this story, but I wrote You Are the Girl for the Job in the summer of 2018. So however many years ago that was. And 7, somebody is better at math than me. I wrote it 7 summers ago, in the summer, in a season where our church, my husband and I lead a church in Charleston called Bright City, and our church went from 220 people to 40 people almost overnight in the summer of 2018 through, the cliche church plant story that you hear across the world. Just like a few really catty, silly things happened. Another church in the area happened to open, and literally all of a sudden, this thing that felt so important to us was just breaking and just crumbling. And Nick and I would tell each other later that we didn't even want to say this to each other, but we certainly couldn't have said to anyone else that we were considering quitting. Because if we had told anyone else in our context that we were considering quitting, they would have said, like, you probably should. This is not working. It's broken. And I just so happened to be contracted to write a book that summer. And my editor actually came to me with the idea about calling it You Are the Girl for the Job. She had seen I'd posted that on Instagram, and she was like, people seem to resonate with that. And so I kind of went backwards and said, like, okay, well, what would I say to someone? I certainly don't even feel that myself about this role. And I let the Lord kind of shake me down, because at the time, I certainly did not feel gifted. I certainly did not feel like my ministry was fruitful. It was anti-fruitful. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel capable. I didn't have, years of experience to back me up. But I had this sense that if you can obey God and if you can be obsessed with the people He's called you to minister to, a lot of other things will fall into place. And so I would say the most important thing I learned from writing that book, and those ended up becoming like coaching steps that I developed into a coaching program that I now train other women in. I would say the most important of all of those steps is just knowing your who. And so I would say if for a minute, if you're feeling incapable, if you are feeling insecure about your gifting, if you are feeling inadequate in any kind of way, if you can for a moment just pin those feelings up and say, like, actually, I'm not even going to deal with that right now. Instead, I'm going to listen to what God's telling me to do. And I'm going to let my heart get burdened and broken and excited for the people He's called me to minister to. You can find a motivation that's outside your own adequacy. And what's cool about that is that when you're motivated by obedience to God and the good of others, I would call it the good of others and the glory of God, the good and the glory. It's just a nice litmus test for me. When we're motivated by the good and the glory, you're not going to get out of the game because of human disapproval. And you're not going to think more of yourselves because of human approval. Like, you're not going to go on this roller coaster of like, am I good or bad compared to other people? You're going to just be obsessed with obeying God, and you're going to learn to experience the joy in just obeying God and the joy in watching other people grow. And that's helped me a good bit.
Yes. I love that.
Well, that was good.
I love that.
You're the guy for the job.
Yeah, you are.
The guy for the job, Adam.
Guy for the job. No, because I struggle with the pinging up and down.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how even when you have success in one area, how you can still do the roller coaster if you don't have it in another area.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. You mentioned your business, raising up coaches.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that for a while, right?
Yeah. I've been coaching formally really since about 2018. That's when fall is when we started going Tell Gals My Business, and we've been training coaches in our coaching process since 2020.
Yeah. How have you seen your leadership style evolve since that tough time in 2018 and then kind of getting the business going?
That's a great question. You know, it's so funny. I wish I had a copy of Girl for the Job here right now, because there's a quote. I have a handwritten quote in the beginning of the book, like almost in the book jacket, that I always get wrong if I'm not reading it because I'm not a memory girl. But it's a Madeleine L'Engle quote. Madeleine L'Engle, if you don't know, she's the fiction author who wrote A Wrinkle in Time, but she also wrote a lot of nonfiction books, and some of her nonfiction books are about writing. And I came across this quote of hers. I'm going to not say it right, but it essentially says, the moment I stopped wondering whether or not I could do the thing, I figured out I could do it. It's just this idea of like, when I stopped worrying about my inadequacy, I was able to step into what God had for me.
Good.
And if you didn't know, Madeleine L'Engle, also like prolific writer, but also just faithful follower of Jesus as well. But anyways, all that being said, in 2018, I don't know, I wasn't an ordained pastor at the time. I was a new church leader for the first segment of our church planning life. I was the pastor's wife. And that was my primary role. I didn't teach at our church. I didn't lead really in any capacity. Nobody would have put me in charge of kids ministry ever. So that wasn't going to happen. So I was just Nick's wife, and I was really happy to be Nick's wife. I was really thrilled. And then a few years into our church journey, he kind of came to me and was like, I think I need you to do this with me. I think we need to be doing it together. Anyhow, I'm getting somewhere. I'm very long-winded. I'm sorry.
This is great.
But I was surrounded at that time in 2018 with what I would like to call lovingly Chick-fil-A leadership culture. Anybody a fan of Chick-fil-A's leadership culture? In my family, your first job you have to work at Chick-fil-A. Everybody has to work at Chick-fil-A. That has to be your first job. All my teens have to work at Chick-fil-A. They have an incredible leadership pipeline. I mean, they are out there teaching 15-year-olds leadership skills, and they all want to be a leader, and it was incredible. But I had this mindset of this kind of like pipeline of leadership. And really the problem with it is that I heard so many people talking about like corporate leadership and like synergy and like, I don't know, just like this like very corporate version of leadership that I thought, well, you either have it or you don't. And I was like, I'm a little emotional. I talk too much. I cry anytime somebody tells me their story. I just saw every capacity of mine as like antithetical to this kind of corporate leadership structure. Yeah. And I spent a couple of years really trying to like turn down who God had made me and turn up like leadership. And, so I would say the biggest way I've changed is that I've stopped doing that. And going back to that Madeleine L'Engle quote, I've stopped kind of wrestling with the Lord about him calling me to be a leader because he just did. Mm. So I'm like, at this point in my life, I can't be like, why didn't you make me different? Because he did just place me in areas of leadership. So I think I'm going to have to just stop fighting with him about my adequacy or not, and just say like, well, but you made me like this and you've called me a leader, and certainly I want to be sharpened, and certainly I want to grow in that. Yeah. That's a long-winded answer, I'll give you a girly answer too that I feel like the women in the room will appreciate. This is a gut answer, okay? This is not a mind answer. This is a gut answer. You know how we have like headshots on Instagram, or like your biopic, Yep. I just realized a couple weeks ago, I went to my team and I said, we got to take a new headshot of me. And they were like, okay, well, we just took that one. So like, why? And it hasn't gone up yet, but the new one's going up in a week or two. And I was like, because the one that's up there right now it's very similar to the pictures I've seen around here tonight, but it's like me in a blazer in front of a backdrop. And I was like, that is not how I live my life. And that is not how I lead. And I get that that's what women are supposed to do, to be like, I'm a leader.
That's really good.
But that's not how I lead. So I was like, we got to change the picture.
So good.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So how would you say you lead? If it's not that, what is it?
Okay. Well, I think I lead with motherhood and femininity.
Yeah.
First, forward. I think my empathy for people is it has so greatly increased over the last few years, and now that I'm not trying to subdue it anymore, it's really helpful. I would say, I do not mean this that I am prophetic in any way, shape, or form, but if you're into like the fivefold giftings, my gifting in the fivefold giftings is prophet. I do not see the future. I just have weird dreams. Like I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I can tell you who's going to be president next, you know? But in the fivefold gifting, a prophet kind of enters a space and says like, this is what's wrong. This is what's not working. And then very often the prophet will try to be that, to try to fix that, try to bring that. So I would say that's another way that I lead. Which again is so antithetical to what I saw leadership as, because I saw it as removed. Like you sit back, you don't show emotion, and then you tell somebody else how to do something. But that is actually not how I lead best. I lead best when I can come in and set the temperature. And if I sense that like one person is down in a room of 100, like meeting with them and being on their team. I would say another way I lead is through words. I've learned in my business to let my words guide me the way God made me. I have too many words. And I used to just feel so deeply insecure about how much I talked. And then I realized like he has set me up for this. This is my job. I write almost one book a year. I preach, 3 times a month, so I'm like, actually, this might be a win, actually. Might be great. And then when I go to my house, I can kind of like go into a deprivation tank and not talk so much, which is also a dream. So I would say like through words, through emotion, through sensing what's wrong in the room, and bringing about what I would hope to see shifted.
Yeah.
Just what? Do you know your Enneagram?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that safe to ask?
I was going to say, Kylee, do you know?
No, you do not. Do you?
Well, we talk about these things. Women, we share these things.
I think you're an 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I don't know what your wing is.
I want to guess what
I
you
don't know
are.
what her wing is, guys.
I don't. My wing is I'm an Enneagram 8, and my 7 wing is in a headlock.
Oh,
so I don't. I'm
okay.
actually not fun or spontaneous, but I hate pain.
Yeah.
That's my only 7.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. That was really powerful. Like just to even have like that level of self-awareness of like, this is exactly what I bring to the table as a leater, and it just your willingness to articulate that. Thank you.
Oh, well, I learned it the very wrong way. Trying to, turns out when I try to be the leader, I think I should be. I'm a very bad leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the change of the Instagram pic, that's really, really subtle, but that's a big deal.
I felt like women would get that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So like my new Instagram pic, we haven't picked it yet, but I'll tell you, we took them all at my house. I took almost all of them in dresses because I just stopped feeling like I needed to be this person I wasn't. Like I'm almost always in a dress. I'm almost always like sitting on the floor or like cuddled up on a sofa or talking to somebody or, and so I was like, that's how I lead. It's okay. I can show people that's how I lead.
Yeah.
I went through, I've shared this a little bit on the podcast, but so I'm an Enneagram 3, and for the first time I went to counsel.
No one is surprised.
See, but I am. It does surprise me because you are. I feel like you are none of the toxic things of a 3.
That's debatable. I feel
Different podcast.
I feel like it's so weird. I am like people. Like I mean, even like my wife, she probably gets annoyed. Like the strangest people love me, which is bizarre. So I just love people. Like people walk by my house and we'll turn into BFFs. But in the past, specifically as a pastor, I struggled with not. I was more of the 3. And definitely unhealthy at different points. Starting a new church and being so young. I was 24 when I started.
Oh.
And I didn't want to start a church.
So proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
I didn't want to start a church. It wasn't my idea. So the first time I went to counseling, the man's name was J.C. Chambers. He's no longer alive, but was an amazing man. We were wired totally different. I went in there because I didn't have an off switch on my soul. And I felt like it was wrong. I thought, like, as a pastor, you should be like laying in green pastures by still waters. And I wanted to do laps around the water, you know?
Yeah.
And so I really struggled with constantly reeling in that part of me, thinking it was wrong and evil.
Yeah.
Now, there's a dark side to any of our strengths
Yeah.
that we have to deal with. And I have had to do that. Mine was 2018 where I kind of had to face my Enneagram 3 head on.
Yeah.
But there's also a superpower to it. When I met with JC that time, he said, have you ever thought that the thing you think is evil is God's greatest gift to you? And he's like, there's a reason that Embrace has grown like it has.
Yeah.
Yes, God and the Holy Spirit are moving, but I'm guessing he's also utilized your strengths. And so that was something I had to constantly downplay in myself because I felt like my wiring was great if you're a business owner, but horrible and almost sinful if you're a pastor.
Right.
And so that was something I've had to wrestle with my whole ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. I've never heard you say that last part in that way before.
Yeah.
And that just, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Also very self-aware.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Yes.
I feel like I didn't have self-awareness until 2018. Yeah. In that area, I didn't have it. And just had to learn it, and came face to face with it. Yep.
So good.
Real.
You mentioned motherhood.
Yeah.
It's so helpful to hear from other moms how it's going, how they're doing,
Yeah.
because sometimes, when you're in the thick of it, it can just be encouraging to hear
Yeah.
from other moms. What's the season of motherhood look like for you?
Yeah.
I think we're all parents of teens up here, and
Yeah.
just curious.
I feel you on that last driver's test. I felt that in my gut for you.
I'm not doing well.
Is it your first driver?
Yes, and I'll tell you, I'm an Enneagram
Okay.
6, so
Okay. That's real.
It's a real high anxiety thing. I'm actually not allowed to be in the car with him anymore
Yeah,
for
that's fair.
for a while.
That's fair.
And it is very fair. And I've told him several times, it is not you, it is me. Like,
Yeah.
it is not
I've
you.
literally
it is
said
me.
the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. I mean, I think the last time I overshared on your podcast, Adam, I said our hard thing has been parenting this year. I mean, we don't share publicly the details because it's not our story.
Yep.
But yeah, motherhood almost took me out this year. It just almost about did me in, and I would say that. What I realized this year is that I certainly believed a false gospel of parenthood. And as much as I wouldn't have said it, I really did believe, like, if you do 1 + 2, you will get 3. And so my kids, when they were little, knew more Bible verses than I would say most adults know now. And I do believe the passage that says, if you train a child up in the way they will go, they will not depart from it. I don't believe that looks like most of us think it does. And, or at least that's what I'm clinging to now, And so I found myself in a space in the last 6 months where, if I'm honest, like almost none of my kids, I have 4 kids, almost none of them would have professed to know Jesus. Most of them were very outwardly saying, not most, I would say half, or very outwardly saying, like, I reject Jesus. I reject this. And again, like, some of that has actually already begun to shift, which is pretty wild, but certainly not because of anything I've done other than being invited into this weird, wild, beautiful paradox of prayer and praying for our kids. So, yeah, motherhood has been really difficult the last 18 months. And I am so glad because something broke open in me. Because what's on the other side of a false gospel is the real gospel. And the real gospel is better than anything we've ever tasted.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the word says like we're more blessed than the angels because we get to understand the gospel, which really means we're so blessed that we get to understand sin and brokenness and then redemption after it. Like the angels don't even know that. They don't even know sin and brokenness. They just know God. Yeah. But like what he's saying is like there's something actually even better than that, which is like knowing brokenness and knowing despair and then knowing something on the other side of that. Yeah. And so the wild comfort and hope of like going to bed, not knowing where my kids were at spiritually and sometimes not knowing where they were physically. And knowing God is holding me and he's holding them. And some of this is not my fault and some of it could be, and we're all still deeply loved and we're all still pursued by God. Like, I wouldn't sign up for that kind of comfort. Yeah. But I'm glad I got it. Yeah. So I'll share this one last thing about parenting. This is a funny story. This is funny. A sweet young gal in the midst of all this, you know, we've been pastoring, and most everybody at our church, I don't mind telling you guys this because most everybody online, friends online have noticed something's up, right? You know, I'll get DMs like, your family looks different, you know? Your family photos look different. And I'll say like, yeah, not really my story to share publicly, but yes, our family photos have looked different for the last year. And everybody in our local context knows what's going on with us, like, because we want to be known by people. So, you know, but all that being said, you know, I have found that it's difficult for younger moms to relate to what I'm going through, which I totally understand. Because if I had a 2-year-old, and if there's anybody in the room who has young kids, if you're listening, if I had a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old and knew my pastor at my church was going through something like this, I would have been like, well, how'd you break it? You know, what'd you do wrong? Yeah. Or like, you know, how do I avoid that pain that you're experiencing? And so anyhow, all that being said, this sweet mom from my church who has a new baby, a 6-month-old baby, came to my house a couple weeks ago. And she was like, hey, can I ask you some advice? And I was like, about what? She was like, I want to ask you some parenting advice. I was like, who? You want to ask me? And she was like, yes, I want to ask you parenting advice. And she said, what is the most important thing I can pray for my kids? She has one baby. What's the most important thing I can pray for him? She was like, because I do not want him to run from the Lord. And I was like, you know my story, right? And she was like, yeah, but I just feel like maybe you don't know what to pray. Like maybe you didn't pray it. I was like, fair.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, she was not being rude. Like she was being so humble. And to be honest, I was having this like out of body experience where I was like, I did this. I think I remember this exact question with my pastor's wife when I had a 6-month-old. And so I was like, I wanted to tell you what I said to her. I was like, I'm not safe to answer your question right now. And I was like, any answer I give you is going to be too raw and I'm going to hurt you. So I'm going to put a pin in it. Yeah. And she was like, okay. And then we went on with the coffee hangout and, you know, we talked about other things. Then at the end of the coffee date, I was like, wait, hold on. I have a thing. I was like, I have the thing I want to tell you. And I said, I want you to wring out your prayer rug about your kids. And, you know, I want you to just walk in circles praying for your kids. I want you to pray everything for them. I don't regret a minute I spent praying for my kids. And I said, and I did pray for all of it. I've prayed for their spouses. I've prayed for their salvation. I've prayed for their health. I've prayed for this. I've prayed for that. I was like, but I said, I want you to pray in a way that takes the pressure off of you. I want you, when you pray, to be giving your child back to God. And really, by doing that, surrendering what you think is your capacity in this. Yeah. Because you can train them up, you can love them, you can nurture them, and you can do it all wrong. And you can do some of it right, and you can do some of it wrong, and you can apologize, you can grow along the way, but you can like really do your best work. And they're still just their own whole selves. Yeah. their own whole souls. And so I was like, however you pray, I want you to pray in a way that just like takes the pressure off of you, because otherwise we are God. If we could say the right thing and do the right thing, and we would be our own gods. And I said, here's what's more. God can't even do that.
Yeah.
God is the best dad, and his kids still run.
Yeah.
He's said all the right things. He's done all the right things, and his kids still run. So when we do this thing of motherhood where we're like, if I do 1 + 2, if I pray and do this, when we do this in any area of our life, our calling, our marriage, our friendships, our this, if I do 1 + 2, I will get 3. When we do that, we make ourselves God, and actually we make ourselves better than God. We make ourselves somehow higher than God. And Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians, we need to tear down every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And this is a pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, that we can somehow do it without him. That we can somehow build a great life and build a great family and build a great future and do it all on our own. So, motherhood's hard. I don't know, man. But like, it's hard for you guys too.
Yeah. That
was good. That was really good.
I'm so glad we're ending with about that, because I'm not really sure I feel like I just need 5 minutes to process all of that, and just thank you for all of that.
Parenting right now is teaching me like I have no control.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yes.
weird, because I feel like as a
No.
parent, when you have younger kids, you do actually have control. Like you can control everything in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not everything, but right now, just in this season, it's like you actually have no control, even over your youngest. And so, gosh, that's such a great word, Jess.
So my sister just had her first child get married. So we're now like, oh, wow, we're closer to our kids' weddings than we are to ours. Cool. That happened fast. I still think I'm in my 20s. So this was my first niece to get married. And she said something so smart to me, because we've walked through this together and she's walked through this with me.
Yeah.
And my niece is, I got married at 20. Cannot suggest for almost anyone, but worked for me. But my niece is 20 and she just got married, and it's like, that's good for you. That it's going to be a great marriage. They both have these very beautiful, testimonies up until then. They only ever dated each other, my niece and her new husband. When my niece's new husband first came to my brother-in-law and said, like, I want to date your daughter, he had 3 journals, and he said, like, this is the first journal from when I met her, the year I met her, and I asked God to take away my desire, for her to be my girlfriend. And this is the second journal, and this is when I started praying for her husband. And this is the third journal, and this is the whole journal I wrote as I prayed about asking you if I could take her on a date. Like, this is the guy she married. You know what I'm saying?
Gosh.
They're doing their vows. I'm telling you, this is the sweetest story. They're doing their vows, and this sweet man, Colin, who's just entered our family, Colin is like, Abigail, I am not a good man. And I was like, Colin, you take it back. I'm on the front, we're like, Colin, take it back. You're a good man. Anyways, but so we get through this idyllic wedding ceremony, these 2 20-year-olds who have just lived a very, probably one of the tidiest parts of their story, and they're going to have their own story, And my sister said, after walking through what we've walked through in the last 18 months, she said, I was so careful the whole weekend to not tell anyone, like, yeah, we prayed for this. And she said, because we did. But she said, I know that even that subtle thing that says to people, we prayed for this, so we got it, would be harmful for people who have prayed for it and have not seen it come to fruition.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she said, because do you know how many moms pray for their kids' spouses and they married horrible people?
Ugh.
Like, she was like, I was so careful just not, she said, because why? Because if I do that, if I don't just say all of this is an act of God's grace, then I make myself God. And I was like, dang, that's good. Because it's easy to say when you're broken, when it's broken. it's easy to say when it's broken, like, this is all God's grace and it's all God's mercy, but it's harder to say when it's going well. And that's important for all of us in our callings, in our marriages, in our friendships. Like, if you're in a season where you have great friends and somebody says, how did you get such great friends? And you say, like, well, we just keep in touch with, like, no, don't say that. Say, it was God's mercy and grace. It was God's mercy. How'd your marriage get so healthy? How'd your church get so healthy? How'd you become such a good leader? Like, tell the story and say what you learned and say how the weaknesses turned into strengths. But, like, do not put your hands on it to take credit, because the measure that we use to take credit is the measure of shame we're going to have when it breaks. Oh. And so I was like, I'm so glad she said that. And so I would just offer that as a gift for anybody who has, like, a well-behaved kid or a successful business. Sis, do not take credit for it. Because it's going to be your fault when it breaks.
Oh, man. That's so good, Jess. Oh, this hour has gone so fast.
That was an hour. I feel awful.
I know.
I am so verbose.
No. This was exactly what we came for,
This
Jess.
is perfect.
We did 2.5 questions, you guys. That was generous.
No way. No way. Does anybody out there have a question for Jess?
Any questions?
Get out. Yeah.
Am I good to go?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, one, I need to make you feel better because you say you're a super fan. I say you always come prepared because you never know what's going to happen. I brought a book if you would like to sign it.
I would love to sign it. I'd be honored to sign it.
I'm not ashamed to ask.
You made me feel so much better. Thank you.
Thought I'd help you out there. My second question is going to be really silly. What, and this can be for all three of you, what is your go-to worship song? And it does not have to be a Christian song. For instance, mine right now, I'm probably going to cry. Not to brag, I'm in her top 1% of listeners, according to my DJ on Spotify. But can I name drop?
Name drop.
Kylee Breems, No Rain.
I need to hear it.
I'm in a hard season of life right now myself. My son has cancer. So that song came on while he was getting the tumor taken out. And I kid you not, that's probably why I'm in the top 1% of listeners. It's on repeat. So Kylee Breems, she's a country singer, and it talks about just having faith in that storm. So when you were talking about having the pain and just sitting in it and calling out to God, I was like, amen, sister. Because that is all you can do is just give him the glory and give him the pain and let him do what he does best, and that's be God. But what is your go-to songs?
Mine is, I don't know who sings it. No Waste at the Altar. Have you guys heard this?
No.
It'll mess you up.
Oh, actually, I think I have. Yeah, I think I actually.
It says, I lay my broken dreams at the altar.
Yes.
And every victory at the altar. Basically exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
Fear and anxiety
Tiffany
have
Hudson.
no place now.
Yep, Tiffany Hudson.
There's no waste at the altar.
Oh, Tiffany Hudson.
Yeah.
I think mine is Ellie Holcomb's Psalm 139. And it is literally just, it's literally just that passage of scripture. And it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful.
I feel like I've been singing a hymn lately just in my own time, which is not normal. A hymn that's always meant a whole lot to me is Here I Am, Lord.
Yes.
So that's just been a hymn that's resonated with me my entire life.
Yes.
And so I feel like I've been singing that just as we're kind of looking forward as a church to next steps, but even in my own personal life, just wanting to be used by God, and that'd be mine. Yeah, it's a great question.
Thank you. I'm always looking to be the top 1% in somebody else's list.
Anyone else have a question?
Can you talk about your latest book and your inspiration behind that?
Yeah, I'd love to. Are you talking about the one that comes out this fall?
Yeah, the devotional.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. It's called What Comes Next. The private story, did I share this on your podcast? I don't think
so.
I've shared it anywhere really. But the story behind it is I find myself contracted to write books in really horrible seasons. You know what I'm saying? And I was contracted to write a book. I was scheduled to write a book last summer through my publishing contract. And so just back up very briefly, my most recent trade book that came out was Tired of Being Tired. It came out last April, and it came out 3 days after my dad's funeral. So that was not great. And I was just a wreck. But I had to publish my book. I couldn't be like, well, book launch isn't happening now the way it works for authors. I have a team of 5 that help me with my publishing. I have this obligation to my publishers who have invested 2 years into this book. Anyway, so I'm like, I still have to publish. I have to do all the launch things. But so I was contracted to write a book after that last summer, and that book was supposed to be a devotional about rest. So it's supposed to be like 50 days to your most rested life. I don't know, something like that. And my publisher came to me and they said, listen, we know you are a wreck. Like, you're not well. I was like, can you tell? And they also knew about like the private family stuff we were having going on with our kids. And they said, here's your pass. You cannot write the book this summer. They said, we can actually have somebody help you do it if you're just like too messed up. They said, you can just write like 50 devotionals about rest. And I was like, I think I could write that in my sleep. I've just researched rest and written about it for 2 years. I could write it. And they were like, great, you can do that. And then right before we got off the Zoom call, my editor said, or you could write a book to yourself this summer if you wanted to. She said, you've never written about suffering, like you've never written about loss. You've written kind of around it. And she was like, I just wonder what would happen if for 40 days in a row you woke up and like wrote what you most needed to hear. And so that's what I did. So the book is called What Comes Next, and it's just 40 days of healing after heartbreak, burnout, and brokenness. It is not a book to like make your life better. And that was one of the hardest things for me, is like finishing the 40 days of writing with my circumstances had not changed. But my heart had changed writing it. And, going all the way back, story loop to the beginning of our conversation, what's wild is I just recorded the audiobook like 2 weeks ago. And it's the first time I had revisited it. And I was like, this book is raw. Like, first of all, woo. But I was like, wow, I sound so much stronger than I felt. So it's a 40-day devotional using almost primarily the words of the Apostle Paul, and I tried to almost primarily use words that he wrote in jail. But when I read it, I was very impressed that like when I wrote it, I felt very weak, and reading it back, I was like, this was an act of victory and strength. So I hope it'll feel that way when people read it. I hope it'll feel that way when people walk through it, that maybe when they read it for the first 40 days, they might feel very weak, but then maybe by the end they might be like, wow, God was mightier in me in that season than I thought.
Jess, thank you so much. This was so special. Adam, thank you so much for letting me take over your podcast.
This is great. You're welcome
Probably
anytime.
never happen again.
Thank you guys so much for listening today. We hope you enjoyed that live interview with Jess. If you like these live interviews, don't like these live interviews, let us know. We're always working to improve, getting fresh ideas, fresh new faces. And if you're looking to come to a live interview, I could have mentioned this at the beginning. We're doing another one.
Let's go.
With Carlos Whitaker here in Sioux Falls. And that's on August 3rd. And if you go to adamweber.com/Carlos, then you can get signed up for that live interview and be in the room when Carlos is here.
Yeah, go do that because it's a ton of fun. Shout out to Jess for being on the conversation. Shout out to Kylee for rocking the interview itself. Thanks to our partners, Generous Coffee and Vern Eide Motor Cars. This would not have happened without the both of you amazing organizations. That's all we know. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thanks so much, guys.